China now has the largest navy in the world. They don't have anything like this in terms of aircraft carriers.
They do not, but they're working towards it. And they have two operational aircraft carriers right now.
If there is a military conflict in the Taiwan Strait, I consider it very unlikely that we can stay out of it.
If the US gets involved in Taiwan, and then if Japan also provides even rear area support, then China would start to retaliate, probably, against the US bases based in Japan at the very
The emergence of the Japanese aircraft carriers, which are being built for the first time since the end of the World War II. However, the video also delves into the history and motivations behind the Japanese government's decision to build these ships, as well as the eastern trickery that the Japanese have employed in doing so. Welcome back, guys. Hope you're doing well. Today we will discuss a game changer in the Pacific. Japan's new aircraft carrier takes center stage. Before we start, make sure you hit that subscribe button with notifications turned on to get notified when we update videos like this one. Let's get into the countdown. Japan, which was forbidden from having an offensive army from the World War II, found itself increasingly concerned with China's growing military and economic power. To defend themselves, the Japanese government began to consider constructing aircraft carriers, despite them being considered exclusively offensive weapons. The Japanese Ministry of Defense announced the construction of a flat-top destroyer in 2009, which was awarded to 1 H-1 Marine United in 2011 at a cost of 113.9 billion yen. In 2012, the first ship named Izumo was launched, which had a total displacement of 27,000 tons and could carry up to 14 helicopters on board. It was primarily intended for rescue and search operations, as well as patrolling territorial waters and protecting Japanese sovereignty. Because of Japan's Pacific Constitution, its naval forces have relied on ships carrying helicopters for self-defense rather than fighter jets, and the term aircraft carrier has been avoided since World War II. Japan has a self-defense force, which most outsiders would recognize as a military, but its constitution states that land, sea, and air forces, as well as other war potential, will never be maintained, implying that it has historically avoided any offensive military action or buildup. Governments have argued that Japan has the right to maintain capabilities and use the minimum necessary level of self-defense, said Jeffrey Hornan, a RAND Corp scholar on Japan. Historically, anything above that has been considered war potential and thus violates the constitution. Hornan explained that historically, 4 things unquestionably fell into the category: intercontinental and intermediate range ballistic missiles, long-range bombers, and aircraft carriers. However, as concerns about China's rise have grown, Tokyo has increasingly debated more robust military capabilities, such as fixed-winged aircraft carriers. The Izumo is a helicopter destroyer that's larger than Italy's aircraft carrier, the Garibaldi, at 27,000 tons fully loaded. In comparison to the US Navy's 90,000 tons Nimitz-class carriers, or China's 58,000-ton Liaoning carrier, this ship is small. However, it's the largest vessel Japan has sent to sea since the World War II. In 2018, the Japanese government approved a naval development program that involved upgrading one of the project's helicopter carriers into a light aircraft carrier to be based on the Lockheed Martin F-35B deck-based fighters. The upgrade began in Izumo in March 2020 and was completed by mid-July 2021. The cost of the work was 3.1 billion yen, and on October 3, 2021, a historic event for the Japan occurred. For the first time since the end of the World War II, an aircraft landed on the deck of an aircraft carrier. It was the Lockheed Martin F-35B Lightning II, 5th generation short takeoff and vertical landing fighter from the 242nd Fighter Attack Squadron of the US Marine Air Corps. The collapse of the USSR and the rise of China as an economic superpower, along with North Korea's acquisition of the nuclear weapons, have created a new world order. Japan, being a neighboring country of China, felt the need to arm itself against any potential external aggression. However, Japan is forbidden from having an offensive army, and therefore aircraft carriers are considered to be exclusively offensive weapons. The Japanese government had to walk a fine line between arming itself against the potential threats and not provoking China. As a result, the Japanese military of defense announced the construction of a flat-top destroyer, which was primarily for search and rescue operations, territorial patrols, and protecting Japanese sovereignty. The first of these ships, named Izumo, was launched on January 27, 2012, and could carry up to 14 helicopters on board. It had a total displacement of 27,000 tons, and was 814 feet long, 125 feet wide, and 77 feet high. It was armed with two 6-barrel Mark 15 Fowling Sea-Wiz 20mm automatic anti-aircraft guns, and two REM-116 surface-to-air missile launchers with 11 cell crane missiles. Its engines were a combined gas turbine unit, including 4 General Electric LM2500 turbines, allowing the ship to reach a power of 30 knots. The crew was 470, and it could accommodate the same number of troops. The second ship of the same type, named Kaga, was launched on August 27, 2015, and commissioned into the Japanese Self-Defense Forces on March 22, 2017. These ships were considered to be the first phase of the Japanese government's naval development program, which aimed to upgrade one of the project's helicopter carriers into a light aircraft carrier to be based on the Lockheed Martin F-35B deck-based fighters. In March 2020, the Japanese government began the upgrade of the Izumo to turn it into a light aircraft carrier, which was completed by middle of July 2021. The ship's landing and air traffic control systems, power supply equipment, and flight deck were upgraded and marked accordingly. On October 3, 2021, an aircraft landed on the deck of an aircraft carrier for the first time since the end of the World War II. The Lockheed Martin F-35B Lightning II, 5th generation short takeoff and vertical landing fighter. If the result of the Izumo's operation as an aircraft carrier proved positive, the second phase of modernization will follow in 2025. This involves changing the shape of the ship's bow to enlarge it, installing the J-PALS electro-optical landing system, and a complete refill of the hangar elevators, fuel, weapon, and spare parts storage that will enable the F-35B to be fully based. Kyushu Island in the southwestern Japan has been selected to house these aircrafts, with 6 F-35B fighters scheduled to be deployed in the fiscal year 2024 and 2 more in 2025. The Japanese have shown a great deal of cunning and creativity in the development of their aircraft carriers. Though they were forbidden to have an offensive army and aircraft carriers, they found a way to develop them under the guise of defensive measures. They recognized the growing threat from China and sought to counter it through innovation and adaptation. Earlier, Japan's self-defense forces expressed their desire to purchase 42 F-35B fighters, 32 fighters on aircraft carriers, and 10 more to be based on the shore. Mutahara Air Base in the Miyazaki Prefecture, Kyushu Island in the southwestern Japan, has been selected to house these aircrafts. In conclusion, while the Izumo is not technically an aircraft carrier, its increased capabilities and potential for expansion or significant steps forward for the Japan's military. It will be interesting to see how the country's military capabilities and partnerships evolve as it continues to navigate its role in a changing geopolitical landscape. When Japan's new aircraft carrier enters service, it's expected to significantly improve Japan's naval capabilities and ability to defend its regional interests. However, how Japan's neighbors, particularly China, react to this development and how it affects the delicate balance of power in the Pacific remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, Japan's new aircraft carrier will shape the region's security landscape for years to come. That's all for today. We hope you liked this video. Let us know in the comments. What effect will Japan's new aircraft carrier, the JS Izumo, have on the Pacific region's balance of power? And how will neighboring countries like China and South Korea react to its increased military capabilities? I would love to hear from you. See you in the next video. Please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get new updates.